Hey, second grade, it's Miss Crawl here, and it's great to see all of you as always. So, today we're going to be going over commas in a series or a list. So, you may have watched a previous video about this. If you already know some information, we're going to do some more practice and we're going to activate that prior knowledge. If you're not quite sure, we're all going to learn together today. So, whenever you list more than two words, you have to separate them with a comma. So if you have a series of words or a list of words, you have to separate those words with a comma because there needs to be a natural pause as we list those adjectives, those verbs, or those nouns off. So we can list different things. Now let me show you what I'm talking about. So I have three different examples here that we're going to look at. So our first sentence says, I planted tulips, daisies, and roses. So there we're talking about nouns. I planted tulips, daisies, and roses. Do you see how we're listing more than two things? So we need to have a comma. Tulips, comma, daisies, comma, and I want you to notice and roses. We have that comma before the and. So we have our three things listed, and we have commas after them, and then our punctuation at the end. The second sentence says, I dug, planted, and watered. So we have our action, our verbs there. So we can list those as well. I dug, comma, planted, comma, and watered, period. We have our punctuation still. You can see that there's even a comma before the and. And we have a comma and before our last thing that we're listing. The other sentence I have here is, the flowers are red, comma, yellow, comma, and pink. So here we're listing adjectives. We're describing the flowers, right? The different kind of flowers. And you can see we have red, comma, yellow, comma, and pink. And then our punctuation, we have that and right before our last thing we have listed in our series or our list. So we can use commas for different things, right? Nouns, verbs, or adjectives. Again, I want to point out how we have the commas after each, and then we have an and before that final, noun, adjective, or verb in our list. So these nouns or these commas remind us to pause, right? So when I read the sentence, I would say, I planted tulips, daisies, and roses. So that's why we need those commas to separate as we list things. I dug, planted, and watered. The flowers are red, yellow, and pink. So that comma is important as we list things and go through that series or list. So let's go ahead and do a little bit of practice with this. So what we're going to do is we have sentences here, and some of them have commas, some of them don't have any. So we really have to correct these sentences and fix them. So our sentence right now, as we see it, reads, Mary, Fred, and Nancy are in charge of the garden. Well, first off, I see a list here. I see a series of names here. I see Mary, Fred, and Nancy. So I see Mary, comma, but like we just went over, Fred also needs a comma after it. So Mary, comma, Fred, comma, and Nancy, we have that and right before our last thing that we have listed, are in charge of a garden. So let's read it with our extra comma in there. Mary, Fred, and Nancy are in charge of the garden. And that's how we need to have it, right? We need to have the comma after each thing that we have listed, and then we have an and before the last thing that we have listed.
Fantastic.
This next one. They are checking books, the internet, and garden stores for information about plants. So I think you could even hear how weird that sounded when I read it. We need to do some work on this sentence. They are checking books, the internet, and garden stores for information about plants. So we have books, the internet, and garden stores. That's our list here, our series. We need to separate that out with commas, right? So they are checking books, comma, the internet, comma, and then our last thing we have listed is garden stores, and we have that and in front of it. So now let's read it. They are checking books, the internet, and garden stores for information about plants. That sounds way, way better.
Fantastic.
Our next one. They will plant seeds in March, April, and May. They will plant seeds in March, April, and May. So you can see we have a list here. March, April, and May. We're listing more than 2, so we got to separate those with those commas. So we have March, comma, April, comma, and then May is our last thing that we have listed, so we have our and in front of it, and May. They will plant seeds in March, April, and May.
Good.
All right, I'm going to challenge you guys to do this one, so listen to it as I read. We can work in the garden on Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. So first things first, I want you to find our list or our series here. What words are we listing or have in a series? Go ahead and shout it out. So we have Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. That's our list. So now let's talk about how we need to split them up. We need a comma between each one, and that and comes before that final word in our list or series. So we have Monday, comma, Wednesday, comma. Saturday is the last in our list or series, so we have that and in front. We can work in the garden on Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. Awesome job, second grade.
Good.
Our next one, they will bring rakes, shovels, and hose. All right, so our first step, what list or series do we have? What are the words in our list or series? Go ahead and shout it out. Yeah, so we have rakes, shovels, and hose. Those are our list or our series that we have. So we need to split those up with commas. So rakes, comma, shovels, comma. Hose is the last word we have in our series or list, so we have that and in front. They will bring rakes, shovels, and hose. Great job.
Fantastic.
All right, so I want you to go ahead and pause me after I read this, and I want you to go ahead and pretend, just use your finger, get close to your screen, and I want you to pretend to put in the commas where they need to go. So listen to me as I read the sentence. My favorite jobs in the garden are raking, digging, and planting. So go ahead, pause me, and pretend to put in the commas where they need to go. Follow the same steps that we have just been practicing. All right, so you should have thought to yourself, raking, digging, and planting are my list or my series in the sentence. So they need to be split up with commas. So raking, comma, digging, comma, planting is the last list here, last thing listed, last word in my series, so it needs to have the and in front. My favorite jobs in the garden are raking, digging, and planting. Give me a thumbs up if you got that. Great job, second grade.
Great.
All right, this is our last one we're going to try. So go ahead and listen to me read it first. We dig holes, plant seeds, and water plants. So go ahead. I want you to think about what is listed here. What's our series? What needs commas and where? So go ahead and pause me and put in those commas for me. So dig holes, plant seeds, and water plants is our list, what needs commas in between. So dig holes, comma, plant seeds, comma, and then water plants is the last thing on our list or our series, so we need that and in front. We dig holes, plant seeds, and water plants.
Fantastic.
All right, second grade, that was fantastic. You guys worked so hard. Real quick before you go, remember, when you're listing or have a series of nouns, adjectives, or verbs, we need to separate them with a comma. And remember, before that last word in our list or series, we need to have that and in front. Awesome work, second grade. See you next time.